Many Hats podcast with your host with the most, Tony and Lavelle. Every morning from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. We also have Queen Watkins with Clock Dead. Tune in with us and have a great time. Let's talk about it right here. Too Many Hats podcast.
Top of the morning to you, my good people. Happy Friday, man. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, as Mr. Rogers would say. It's your host with the most, Tony Mays, and our special guest co-host today, Mr. Marcus Young. What it do, my guy?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Glad to be on again.
I know, man. Look, we got a doozy for you today, man. And I'm gonna tell you, this one may kind of raise some eyebrows. Because people have different perspectives about this depending on, I guess, what end of the spectrum you're coming from. And so I thought when my wife actually sent this to me, sometimes I think she'd be trying to send me subliminal messages. But I do have a story to tell about this as it relates to this topic as well, just to kind of show you that, sometimes things can be as innocent, but the way it's perceived, the way it's looked at could be, a little different. So today, we're going to talk about, do you believe that sending text messages is a form of cheating? Or does it depend on the context of the message and verbiage used? And so I know, and I tried my best to get a woman to come on here. Yeah, appreciate that, Bam Bam. Yeah, we overrated. Whatever you want to say.
As long as he
You probably overrated too. So hey, it don't really matter. He trying to talk about the Cowboys early in the morning. It's too early in the morning to be coming with that foolishness. But do you believe that sending text messages is a form of cheating, or does it depend on the context of the message and the verbiage used within the message? So I do have a little small video that I want to play as it relates to this. It's a really short video, and this guy just says that texting is cheating. So I don't know how you would look at it across whatever lens you look through this, look at this as, but for him, this was actually considered cheating. So let me play this video.
If you're in a relationship, see, the truth is that intimacy doesn't begin with touch. It begins with the intentional communication. See, if you wouldn't say it in the front of your partner, don't say it at all. I want you to come in boundaries. If relationship loyalty includes text messages, straight up, you should.
All right, so real short message, like I said. He said you shouldn't be texting, period, because it's the intent in the communication. So I'm gonna let Marcus jump right on in.
Put me out there.
Yeah, I'm gonna be out there, bro. You co-hosted this morning.
Yes, sir.
And then
yes, sir.
you may have follow-up questions or something that you can bring to the or add some light to this as well. Rodney said yes, it definitely depends on the context of the message and the intent behind it. I'm gonna agree with you, Rodney, because that's how I feel too. So cuz, do you believe that sending text messages is a form of cheating, or does it depend on the context of the message and the verbiage used?
I mean, if the video you just showed, if the person is covering every text message, I don't necessarily agree with what he's saying. You know, these people got businesses, people do a lot of different things that's going to involve a lot of different people. I'm going to use myself, for example. I'm a realtor. I get all types of text messages coming back and forth. Do I need to share every text message with my wife? That's overkill. You know, where's the trust when it comes to that point? So no, I don't think every text message is a bad thing. Yes, you know, you get a text message talking about I miss your lips and come on over. I just saw some on social media where this lady got caught. She was on vacation and she was showing her husband, they was doing live on vacation. And she was showing her husband, like, we all on vacation. And it popped up, a text message popped up, I miss your lips. From Joshua.
Wow.
So the man goes, wait a minute, who is Joshua? You know what I mean? And she had that little crazy look on her face. And you know that when he actually told his son to leave, we got to have a discussion. You know, it blew up.
Yeah.
You know, so text messages like I miss your lips and all of them type of things, you know, that's a whole different ball game right there. But if I'm getting somebody a text message from a opposite sex that's talking about like I'll be available to help you with the open house, that's business. You know, unless we just gonna get on a planet where there's no women involved on this planet, you're gonna have some type of interaction, especially if you're a man out here doing things and moving and shaking. You know what I mean? So you're gonna have all types of people.
So let me ask you this. So what if that text is from one of your exes that your wife clearly knows who your exes are, and that's one of your exes texting you saying, "Hey, I want to meet. I'm available for that open house."
You know, hey, you want to buy a house? You want to buy a house?
I'm just saying. I'm throwing it out there now.
You know,
and she saw the text.
Yeah, if it says on there that you saw, because I deal, we all on social media, so we got people have access to us. It's not like you can just chop everything off. Now, if that text message is a personal line, it's like that's a whole other question. What's that X doing in your phone? You know what I mean? Some people believe, you know, X is a X. You know, you don't need no dealings. But in the social media world, you're gonna interact people like this talk show. This is gonna touch. I mean, this podcast is touching everybody. You know what I mean? It's out there, and it's not. You know, you want to have a discussion. Come on, let's have a discussion about it. But now that text message goes from, you know, can we be alone when I come to the house? You know, all that kind of stuff. It leaves a whole other area.
Yeah. So you saying like with that, it definitely depends on the context of the message and the verbiage in the message.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Mel says, "Good morning." Of course, it can be a form of "Good morning, beautiful." The what you're doing, where you're at, depends on the situation. Let me share really quick something that happened to me. So every day I play my game. If I'm on my phone and I'm playing a game on my phone, or I'm into reading an email or looking at a video or something like that, and somebody texts me, it shows up on the screen. I automatically swipe it away because I'm doing something. I don't care who it is. If I'm in the middle of doing something, I'm gonna swipe it away. So one day I'm laying in the bed, playing my game, doing my usual thing. Monica's laying right beside me, you know, watching TV, whatever. And while I'm playing the game, a text message from an ex pops up, and I just swipe it and keep playing my game. Well, Monica saw it. When she saw it, she was like, "Wait a minute. First of all, his ex is texting him, and he just swiped it off the screen real fast. But I do that anyway. You know, if I'm doing something, I swipe. I don't care who it is. I'm not looking at the message because the message don't display just who it's coming from, and I just swipe. You know, so." A few days later, Monica says, "Hey, this kind of bothered me, so I want to talk about it." I said, "Let's talk about it, by all means."
A few days later.
Yeah,
that's how they do.
Well, and I like the fact that it took her a couple of days and she just come at me right there, because I'd have been like, "Man, look, you know, I ain't." So, But it took her a couple of days, and I guess, she didn't want to just jump too far out there or whatever, right? And so she came, she said, I want to talk about it. And I said, okay, let's talk about it. And she said, you got a text the other day from your ex, and you just swiped it off the screen and kept doing. And she said, it just looked really weird to me because, first of all, why is your ex texting you? And I said, well, the text is still on the phone. You want to see it? Because I ain't got to hide. And I went to the text. She didn't actually see it, but I went to it and I read the text. So it was literally, her son was in this, I don't, what do you call these things? These where they go out on these, they dress all up and part of this debonair banquet type thing, debutante ball type thing, and they were selling business ads and pages. And she recognized that I had a business and a podcast, and she said, hey, he's doing this and he's raising money for college. Would you be interested in getting taken out an ad in his book on his thing for your business? That was all I was saying. And I said, ain't nothing, everybody, like, my number ain't changed in 35 years. You see what I'm saying? My number been the same. My number's out there on all these public, social media pages, because I ain't hiding, I ain't running from nobody. That's why somebody, if somebody said they can't find me, they lying. Because I'm out there. So it's like they see us on social media, we on social media. So it's like you said. And I deal with females all the time because when it comes to the custom bars, females are some of my biggest customers. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely think that the text message depends on the intent, the content, the context, and the verbiage used within the text for it to be considered cheating or not. And she did raise the question. So what if my ex text me? I said it depends on what he texting you about. If he texting you, hey beautiful, how you doing? Mother, we got problems. But if he's saying, hey, I know you and your husband got this thing going on, blah 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 blah. I mean, it depends on the intent behind it and the context of the message for me.
It does. I agree. And you know what, I appreciate you being able to be so real and share these things because to be truthful, everybody experienced that. You know what I mean? Some people, especially if you don't end on bad terms with people, and some tragedy may happen. They might want to share, like, I know you and my mom was cool. She passed. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of stuff. You might get an interaction from somebody you might have in the past.
Right.
So just the fact that you being open and clear. Now, I'm gonna kind of touch on it on a different angle, and there's gonna be some ladies out here that's gonna totally disagree with me, probably, but I'm just putting it out there. It's a lot of men that actually. We talking about your text message. To me, your text message was fine. Everything's clear. You know what I'm saying? But there's some men that actually go online, that DM, that do a lot of different things as far as text. They might, men are visual. So there's some men that go out here and that text, oh, that looks beautiful on you. You know what I'm saying? They'll say something like that, give a compliment. My question is, are those bad text messages? If you see somebody that looks good.
I think if you are, again, I think it depends on the intent, and the person themselves. Like, so if I see a post, like you just said, I ain't finna hop in nobody DM and talk about you beautiful and all of that. But if I see it on a page and I might like your page, your picture or whatever, or, especially if I know you or whatever, I like your picture, or that's beautiful or whatever, but I'm not. I think if you go to the extreme and you, hey, beautiful, and then you all in their inbox and doing, I think, yeah, like Rodney said, some people be fish flirting with people to see if they'll bite. And he said, just like the examples Mel gave, where the guy inbox you, good morning, beautiful, what you doing, where you at, that type of stuff. That intent is different. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? So
But
I you know,
now, let me just say this. Sometimes some people just step out there just to see if they still got it. They got no intentions
yeah.
to go no further. They're happy at home, but they just want to see, do I still got it? You know what I
I
mean?
don't know about that one,
I'm
cuz.
just saying, there's some men that do that. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
I don't know about that one, cuz, because
Some
if you
people,
gonna check the trying to see if you checking trying to see if you still got it,
uh-huh.
you opening the door up.
Come on.
And this is what the guy was saying in the video. Now you open the door up. So what he said was, if you can't say this in front of your partner,
Mhm.
your why would you say it when they on a post or a text or whatever if you can't say it in front of your mate?
Yeah, yeah. What
And
if
would
your
you
mate?
say
What
would
if your?
you no? So I'm asking you a question. Would you say uh I'm trying to see if I still got it. Would you do that? Make that proposition to that woman in front of your wife?
What if your mate knows specifically how you move, and they know what you will and won't do, and you told them, like, sometimes I just be flirting, playing around with people, and they be like, so.
You got a
So to
real
me,
lax mate. You got a real lax mate. Cause Mug ain't
I'm just
going like
saying,
Mug ain't finna sit there and watch me just I'm flirting with somebody and blah blah. No, bro.
no, we talk about, our personal
Nah,
situation.
I know how you move. Nah.
Well,
For me, no, bro. Let me jump into these comments right quick.
now,
Monica,
go ahead.
Monica said your intentions can be pure, but the other person's intention could be shady as hell. Text messages could open the door to other foolishness if the intent is not pure on both sides. But that's where the person that's receiving the text message got to shut it down, like to shut it to see that that what it is just this. Like now, if I had to responded back, like when the person texts me, if I responded back, well, forget about your son. What's up with you? Now
Right.
that's crazy.
Yeah. Gotta cut that
That
off.
now that's going somewhere else. She said, cousin, that's foolish.
But you know what? You know what, to me, cheating is when you do something and your spouse is not aware. You're doing something behind their back and they ain't aware. To me, that sums it up.
So that would be the same. So would you DM a woman in the presence of your spouse and say, good morning, beautiful?
Nah, that's disrespectful.
Okay then.
You know what I
So
mean?
would you text her in front of your spouse and say, good morning, beautiful, your mate, good morning, beautiful? No.
Hey, we excluding me.
No, I'm saying I'm just
I'm
asking the
speaking
question in general.
hypothetically.
No, yeah, I'm asking the question in general. No, most men would not do that. So if you do it when that person's not present, what does it mean? I'm gonna take it a step further. I got a text message some years ago, a few years ago, came from a number. It wasn't even saved in my phone. So clearly I ain't talked to this person or whoever it was a long time. The number ain't even saved in my phone. The person said, "Hey, how you doing?" or something. It's been whatever it was. It was one of them kind of texts, and Monica saw it. She just happened to be looking saw the text, and she got hot about it. And I was like, Monica, it ain't even no name attached to the number. Like I have no clue who that is, and clearly, if they say I ain't seen you in a while, that means it's been a long time. So, but I say that to say because sometimes that does have you out of touch with people. Like I said, my number ain't changed in 30 plus years, right?
Mhm.
So it could man, anything could have been, you know what I'm saying? So, and my number after you got people that admire you from a distance, bro. You're a realtor. Your number is on a card, your number is on a sign. Somebody, that's Mark, your picture with Marcus. So I run across and see Marcus. Oh, I always thought Marcus was handsome. Or I'm gonna text, hey Mark, you might not remember me, but I'm so. I always thought you was attractive. I saw your sign, your real estate, and then your wife see that. You just got the text because you out there. So would that now? I don't think that's cheating, but I think if you reply and say, hey, well, what's up? Send me a picture of yourself. Now you entertaining the whole thought of it, right?
Facts. But you know what? You know what's interesting, and I wish we had a woman on here because I wish we could get their point of view. But what's
I wish,
interesting,
man. I tried to get a woman to come on.
yeah. But you know what's interesting is even women will hear you, but they not trying to hear you at the same time. I don't care where them text messages coming from. If it's just a hello, they're gonna be like, "You been talking to them?"
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and I feel like my cousin Monica is listening to this podcast intently right now. And my wife will ask,
I don't have no secrets. So I mean,
right. So, not in no bad way. I can just see her eyes right now. She already said I was being foolish. So
we, I mean, and I like the idea and the fact that we can talk about it now.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
That's huge.
Where there was an era and a time where she would have came to me and said something, I'd been like, man, I ain't finna talk about that, But I understand now that let's talk about it because you felt some kind of way about it. So let's talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Where in the past, I would have shut her down. I would have shut her down and been like, man, look, man, you can go on with that. I ain't trying to hear that. Boom. And I'm gone by my business because I ain't trying to hear, you ain't finna draw me in no mess like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the growth in me says, that's your wife. And if she feel a certain kind of way, something bothers her, let's talk about it. Because Tony, what if you got something going on and it bothers you with her? Would you not talk about it? It's the same thing we talked about a few weeks ago where the guy said, his wife came to him and said, we need to talk, that you're not intimate enough with me. You don't show me any intimacy. And he said, so what does that, I don't really understand what you're saying. What does kind of talk to me about this intimacy? What does that really look like? Because I'm not really understand what you're saying. And when she shared with him, and he said, well, if you wouldn't have come to me now and shared this with me, when would you have shared it with me? And she said, I don't know. And so between the time that she realized he wasn't being intimate with her or intimate enough with her, and the time she shared it, presented what? Space and a gap.
Yep.
And in that gap, Johnny Joe Blow could have jumped in there and said, "Ooh, you beautiful. You this, showed her some of that attention that she was talking about she wasn't getting from her husband, and it could have went a whole different way." So when we talked about that gap, I don't know if you saw that series, Lavelle came up with an acronym that says give attention with purpose and passion.
I like that. That's good.
So we've adopted that, give attention with purpose and passion. So if I'm gonna give attention to my work, I'm gonna listen to that she has an issue with something within me. Instead of me blowing it off now, I'm gonna say, shit, let's talk about it. Let's get some understanding about it. Because I don't want you feeling that way.
You said a couple of things today, or so far. You said the first one, you said Monica took a minute to process it, and she came back to talk. And then you said you grown, which I got to applaud you on that, because a lot of people still stay the same way. But you listened and you addressed, and that's huge, because that's something I'm learning to do. But the challenge I've learned too is when you've shared something, like I think you just touched on a whole nother topic too about that intimacy part and that gap that happens in between. Because if you've been married for a certain amount of time, there is going to be some challenges like that.
Yeah.
Where you're not on the same page. And that's when the enemy can come in. That's exactly when the enemy can sneak his foot in there if you're not aware. And if y'all could shut them things down, and for the ladies that's listening, this is for everybody. And I'm saying this wholeheartedly. Do not let your man go a long period of time without intimacy. Do not do that.
So what does intimacy look like? So we think intimacy, so for most men, intimacy is just sex.
Sex.
But for a woman, intimacy is not just sex.
I was being politically correct on your show.
I understand, but we just say we want the punani. Let's just say it. Let's call it what it is. We got to have the punani, and you can't withhold it from us.
We need a release after so long.
Yes,
I was saying that, you know, men got generations in them, and if them generations, and I think God made us like that too. God wants us to be fruitful and multiply. Right. And them generations that's in us, you know, after so long, they be wanting to get out. It's real. And you don't feel comfortable. You can't focus well. You can't do a lot of things if it's been a long period of time and you ain't been intimate. I can only speak for myself. I'm clear.
As a man, you become agitated. It aggravates you.
Yes.
And so at that point, if everything she's doing is aggravating you, she should ask the question, what's wrong? It seems like everything I'm doing, I ain't had none, babe, and you ain't getting to me. I got to release. so Mark is finna give me for this one.
Hey, it's real though. If you be like, oh, maybe he getting older. No, don't put no older on that. They ain't changed. If it's been some period of time,
Mark is finna give me for this
one. Okay.
So last night, after I came in, did my little stuff, whatever I was doing, knocking around, I was watching. I don't even know what the hell I was doing. But when I finished, I went in the room. Mark was in there watching the show. I got in the shower. I got out the shower. I put a little damn cologne on. You know, then I'm gonna walk past her, you know. But I put the little cologne on, and then I went over to, kiss her, because Pepper always tried to get in between us. And when I got into bed, I just kind of like laid on side, or I ain't do my normal. I mess with my guy, laid on side, or put my head on side. She got the hint, bro. She went, put the dog up, hopped in the shower, put the dog up. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And sometimes she don't get the hint. Sometimes she don't.
Okay.
But last night, thank God she got the hint, because I needed it.
Hey, let's be real with this one, because what if she didn't get the hint? Your next day comes, say, you know how the enemy works.
Yeah.
Next day comes, and say you go to the gym. You in there working out, and you zoned in, focused doing your workout, and all
trying to release in another way.
Exactly. But here you go. Folks want to walk past, want to catch your attention. I was at the gym. I'm gonna just use my own. I was at the gym. I was all zoned in. I was like, I'm trying to get this chest workout. Why this woman walk right past me, like close as she could, just because I was in a zone? She walked right past me
with the tight biker shorts on.
Exactly.
With the body.
Walked in a perfect way for me to check her out.
Right.
And I'm like, I felt like my whole space was invaded. You know what I mean? And what if it's a situation where you ain't did nothing? Guess what? The enemy trying to throw these little tricks. I'm sharing this, and I hope the women hear this. Make sure your man is empty on a regular basis, because when I'm empty, I don't have no issues with this right here. Yeah. When I'm not empty, that's when it seems like it's the hardest.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I see more than what I would normally see.
I know the comments are racking, boy.
Oh, man. It's real.
But you just said something, cuz. Like, you just said something. I saw a video with this man. This man went live on TikTok and went viral because he said, I know I'm live right now, and I'm saying it anyway, because I know she gonna see it. I don't care. He said, but it's been 2 months, and my wife ain't gave me none. And he said, I've been trying every day. She got an excuse why she can't give it to me. He said, if she don't give me some today, I'm cheating. He said, because I'm tired of not getting it. He said, and I'm asking her every day. Every day she got an excuse. But that's how men feel, even though he expressing it openly. And he's saying, I don't care. I'm cheating if she don't give it to me today.
That's that frustration piece.
That's that frustration.
You might not even necessarily mean it, but you're trying to voice it. You're trying to get it out some kind of way.
Right.
And you know what? And you know what? Another thing too, when a woman's been doing what they supposed to do, you know, I know it's two sides, but when they've been doing what they supposed to do on a regular basis, guess what? When them text messages from a random person come over, it don't hit as hard as they usually do. You know, but when they insecure in a certain area and they ain't been doing what they supposed to do, when they see them things, it makes them even more like, okay, what's going on? I know I haven't been doing what I was supposed to do. What's this about? Right. You know what I mean? So it brings about a lot more, you know, sometimes them text messages, if it's random, actually bring out the real issues at hand.
Right, exactly.
To have a discussion about.
Joseph said, Miss Monica sounds like my wife. Look, Lavelle said, I dodged a bullet on this one. Good morning, everyone. Rodney said, I used to do that, Marcus. He said, I used to flirt with the older women when I DJ while my wife at the same time was working the 360 machine. Shit.
And he was getting
now I get what Rodney kind of saying, because I will flirt with older women, like the older, real seasoned women, because they ain't trying to get them. I'm trying to let them know you still got it, but you still looking good. But, you know, and then I tell them, like, well, she look good, but hey, that lady 75 still looking like that, you know.
Right.
It's a mutual, and she know, like, yeah, that ain't it, you know. But it still happens. So I get what he's saying there.
Sometimes you make their day. You make their day. Like,
right,
it's a real old lady at the gym. And I was like, I see you over here looking good. Right. And she's like, oh. Yeah. And you made that day.
Yeah.
And they be going about their way.
Sonya said there has to be trust and have an understanding with your partner. It's always good to talk about it if you can. Be real with your spouse. Then it's a problem that you can see. She kind of threw me off with that last piece. Rodney said she knew I was playing just to interact with the crowd and wouldn't bust a great. Okay. Long as you guys had that understanding, and that's why I said the understanding is key. And that goes back to what Marcus said. What if my wife know I'm just like this flirtatious type of person, and this is what I do? I don't mean no harm. Does it, you know? So Marcus said, let me tell you something. Here we go. Let me tell you something. After 30 years, I ain't tolerating no foolishness. I deserve the same thing that I give. No game, no secrets. Rodney said, LOL, I need the box.
Yes, but hey, that's funny, but he's right.
He needs the box. Paulette says, some people will know your status on being married or have a special partner. They don't necessarily mean they want to be with you just to cause friction in your relationship. See, that's some bullshit right there.
Yeah,
if you out doing that, you with this anyway. Like, if you just gonna go out here and destroy some folk relationship because you can, yeah, that's the shit. I ain't gonna ride with that one. But that does happen, Paulette. I believe you. Sonya says, "Go sis. Remember that when she don't get the hint. Remember when she did. I love y'all, bro. I don't want to remember when she didn't get the hint. I don't want to remember when she get the hint." She said, "Cousin, waiting to address things is in order sometimes. Not too long though. Sometimes it is necessary to stop and think first before reacting. As it relates to intimacy, you gotta make your spouse feel loved, desired, etc. Not just bam, bam, bam." There she go. Don't do too much, babe.
Right. Hey.
Don't do too much. Yeah. So
Monica should have came on the show today.
No, bro. I hear her perspective.
I feel like she on the show right now.
Yeah. She gonna give her perspective through here, but a lot of times I hear Monica's perspective. Me and Monica talk a lot, way more than we used to do in the past, and that's why, like I said, we gonna talk about it now. So I don't really be tripping about that. You know what I'm saying? We gonna talk about it. So I know if something bothers her, we're gonna talk about it. If it's bothering me, now I may not wait like she will. She'll wait a few days. Sometimes I don't. I just throw it on out there because I had to get it out of my system when it's on my mind, on my heart. I can't wait a few days because I had to get it out. Men are a little different. Like, but women are wired different too. So I understand that. So we definitely have to. So just based on our conversation today, I think most of the people that have even commented, I think we're from even with the women, even the women that have commented, I think we're all kind of on the same page as it relates to what constitutes cheating within a text. I still would like to have had a woman to come on and get that different perspective because, like you just said with the older woman in the gym, her just hearing you say, "Ooh, you looking good," or you doing your thing, made her feel good. And women like to hear stuff to make them feel good, not necessarily that you flirting or you cheat, but you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
So that woman may say, "Well, me just getting a text saying, hey, I saw you the other day. You were looking beautiful." That may made her because she might, because some women suffer with low self-esteem. They suffer with all kinds of stuff, and like Monica said, we like to be feel, we want to be made to be feel loved. All this is desired, all this stuff. Women want to be desired.
You know what's interesting too, cuz when you say that is women want to feel loved, they want to feel desired. Men want sex. And you know what happens sometimes?
Sex and respect.
Sex and respect. And them things be colliding sometimes. And I feel like this, and I'm just putting it out there. This is good for all the couples that's out here. Men, you know what's interesting is sometimes those things, like, we need to give them the love and the caring and the romancing and the let's go out tonight and all that kind of stuff to get what we want. But sometimes
that's all part of it.
Sometimes a man just want to be woke up a certain kind of way in the morning, you know what I'm saying, or want to go to night a certain kind of way, and sometimes, we put that out there. Is and it can't be every time because sometimes we just want something like a little quick, you know what I mean? Got to be that long marathon. Just give us something a little quick, get us all out of the way.
And release. We gotta have that release. Yeah.
Release us also into the world empty.
Right.
You know what I mean? And guess what? It's gonna come back around. And sometimes we're gonna start that up, but it gotta be secular, it gotta be constant, because that's when you make room for the enemy. And I think sometimes women don't realize how much a man really needs that. Sometimes I think they be feeling like, you can go a little while without it. And, like, you should be okay. I'm okay. You should be okay. But men and women wired differently. Not the same.
So as a married man, how and I know this is probably kind of hard to like put a time on it or how many times, but I heard a man says, I heard a woman, she said that her friend told her, and she said she didn't understand it. She said, he's married. She said, I got friends that's married. And she said, and she said, I'm single, but I got friends, male friends that's married. And she like, they be talking to me, telling me that they wife ain't gave them sex. Like she said, it's February now. And she said, him and his wife have had sex one time this year, and it's February. And she said, where y'all do that at? Like, she said, I understand why these men be around here cheating. If y'all not having sex with them, we in February and you done had sex one time, like, so
that's a real thing.
Yeah, like, I don't necessarily want to put like we should be having sex 4 times a week or 5 times a week or 3 times a month, but I think it should be more frequently than less frequently.
Yeah, I want to put a time on it. Hey, I told my wife, I said after about 2, maybe 3 days, you know, something going on in my body. You know what I'm saying? The generations start tripping. You know what I'm saying? So, and then too, we can't wrap everybody's relationship into the same picture, because some people's situation is totally different. I'm speaking for myself. I can only tell you, but I know from, you know, friends that I have, most of the men are very similar. You know, some men worse. They be needing something every day or every
I do realize that as some men get older and they start to their body changes in terms of they started to, you know, diminishing. Maybe testosterone is low, and that, you know, they starting to have ED issues and stuff like that. That they may result to not really like pushing their wife to have sex 2, 3, 4 times a week. But if you know you got a man that if you just walk past and blow in his ear, he ready. He ain't trying to wait no once a month, 2 months, 3 months, all of that.
Mm-hmm. And if he's waiting that long, if he one of them type of men, if you just blow in his ear like you just said, and you ain't doing nothing, he's doing something somewhere else.
Yeah, listen what Mel said. I'm gonna let you address that cause I was finna like go in. Mel says it's a bigger picture to that, Tony, than the going without issue. We are not in their home and would never know the big picture in those non-sexual marriages. That's bullshit. I'm just gonna preface that with that. That's bullshit.
What's the
If you're married and you guys haven't talked about, like, if you talked about it and said, you know, I have this ED issue, or she's having some kind of medical issue, or where you guys are not doing it because of that, that's understood because we didn't talk about it. We know that what's going on. But if there are no issues with either one of us, and we say we ain't splitting up and we ain't beefing, and I don't care if we beefing. Let's make it up.
I think I kind of understand what she's saying, cause Tony, what Mel is saying, because I think she's saying that because they not having sex, it's something that's causing it, something bigger that's causing them not to be doing what they need to be doing. That's where that communication, like you said, you and Monica, y'all do y'all communication, y'all talk more about it. That's where that communication got to kick in, because you can't just let time go on and on, because you just basically setting yourself up for failure at that point. Some kind of communication need to be done. If you got to go get some professional help, then go get that professional help. You know, you need a marriage counselor or somebody. You need to go see somebody, especially if you want that relationship.
But again, like you said, in that realm of the bigger picture, it's a bigger issue, and if you're not talking about it, you're allowing the gap, and in the gap, people get divorced. In the gap, people have affairs. In the gap, people just split and go their own. So if you're not talking about it and you're not having sex and you're not talking about it, something is going down.
Something's going on.
And with the men, I can guarantee you it's going down somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. It is.
It's going down somewhere else.
Yep. So
I would rather you guys talk about it, discuss it, talk about it, and say, hey, what's going on? It could be it could be the thing, because I've heard women say this, where the man wasn't. I've actually heard both sides, where the man wasn't pleasing her sexually, or the woman wasn't pleasing him. So did you talk about it? What is it that she's not doing that you like her to do, or vice versa? What is he doing? You got to talk about it so we can figure out what we need to do to spice this thing up.
Yes.
Because he might just be I like to hit it from behind person, and she gonna say, well, that don't get me out, but that's all he like to do. Did you tell him that?
Right.
She might be a straight missionary, because she gonna get it every time in missionary, and he's saying, I like to hit it from behind.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta talk about these things.
Yes, you got to say something. You go, are you, wait a minute, what Monica say?
She said the same with women. We got menstrual cycles, depression, trauma, self-esteem issues, menopause, other things that play a factor in the sex life. Sex is very emotional for most women. Communication is key. But hell, we got to communicate. Talk about it. If you saying I got depression, trauma, listen, you need to get some help because I got to have some sex.
Sex is very emotional for most women.
Oh, yeah. It is.
Yeah, it is. But that's where men different. It's emotional. We got, don't get me wrong. When I say that too, I'm talking about men. Like I said too, sometimes a man might just want to be woke up a certain way. You know, we might be sleeping sound, and you come over there and you do your thing, fellatio, whatever you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Take care, brother. I guarantee he gonna wake up. You know, a lot of these women know what you heard that saying. There's morning wood that happens, and that wood need to be chopped. I just made that up. I ain't never even said that before. But you need to chop that wood in the morning to make sure that fire is burning in the house.
I'm so with you this morning, boy. Like we went from what is text message talking about morning wood. But
hey, that's the new saying. I need to put that on the shirt. Chop that morning wood so that fire be burning.
But this is something that when we first started doing the podcast over a year ago was taboo for me. I don't want to talk about sex and all that stuff online. And Lavelle said, well, bro, these are conversations that people in marriages and dating and stuff. These are real life situations that people are having that they don't talk about because they don't know how to approach it. And so us having an open forum of conversation about this now, and that's why Monica just said, y'all got to speak more on this next week. Important. Because it is important. The sex thing is important in relationships. I don't care how you look at it. For men, it is very important. Men care about two things: sex and respect.
Yes.
And that's why when a man cheats, there's no emotion involved in it. We doing it to get that release.
Yes.
And that's why we can do it a lot of times and go on about our business.
Yep.
We can do it, and then that some men just get caught up in the infatuation of in the situation, the lust of the woman, and continue to go back and back. But and then it turns and develops into a relationship, a side relationship. But for the most part, men just want to get it off and go on about their business.
I heard there's one lady on social media. I saw something on social media. This lady was like, even when she's angry with her man, she was like, she still makes sure she do what she got to do. She said she never puts those together. Yeah, I'm angry with you, but you still gonna get it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I'm still gonna take care of you there because you still.
She realized that if she don't, and we might be talking the same woman.
She said though, because this is what she said. She was like, because just because I'm mad at you, you mad at me. He doesn't stop paying bills. He doesn't start protecting the house. He said, so why should I start giving him what I know he needs?
We talking about the same woman. We talking about the exact same woman. She said that, that's where we mess up a lot of times in relationship is when you try to withhold sex as punishment for the man.
Yeah.
Cause you mad or cause he did something you didn't like or whatever. You withholding the sex as punishment, and he's not looking at it that way
at all.
He just looking at it as you withhold the sex. Mel says men don't threaten your women with, oh well, I'm going somewhere else. If it don't happen, it won't feel or be genuine. It's not that we gonna tell y'all that. What man gonna tell his woman, I'm gonna go get it from somebody else? Right. But that's a thought. And if it starts with a thought, it ends with,
right.
It actually happening sometimes.
And we got to touch on this too before time run out on us. We got
time today.
Okay. Another thought is Men are, and I'm just saying this too, and it sounds like we got a nice women's audience, and I'm sure it's gonna go further and further out there. And it's couples and it's ways to help each other. Men are biologically built different from women when it comes to sex. And I might ruffle some feathers when I say this, but men can populate a city. Women can't. Where I'm going with that is that man, at the end of the day, that man needs to be taken care of to be functioning properly. You know what I'm saying? You can't just be out there just saying, talking about because I'm angry at him, I'm going to stop, I'm going to withhold this or that. No, my men are biologically built a certain way. And then when I say this was going to ruffle feathers, I mean, I know I know the Bible touches on cultures at the certain times of when it was written, but you are all throughout the Bible too. You know, you got to think about this, the ladies that's out there, all throughout the Bible, it was many times when men had multiple women. David had several, Solomon had tons. That tells you right now it's in a man's nature to have that. So if you decide that you want to withhold that, you're setting yourself up for failure. And, you just can't do that, especially if you want to have a healthy relationship. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He said compromise and hit it from the side. All right.
I was looking up something.
Yeah. So why are you looking that up? But here's the thing. That's why I kind of touched on earlier too, Tony, about cheating. What's cheating? Cheating is technically you doing stuff and you're not, the person that you're with is not aware of. And I've heard where some situation where men were like, sometimes I'm out and about, and, I might flirt. But, this man, I heard of this man flirting out there, and he said he would come back and tell his wife what he did. And he was like, let me tell you what she did when I did this. And that's their relationship. If it's working for them, can't nobody just fault them for what they doing. You know what I'm saying? And she understands. You got to really understand the person that you with.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing about men, is even, you always got the person that you love and you care for it. That's where you at. You start withholding things, other things can creep on in. So you just gotta put a clamp on all of that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm still looking this up trying to find this, but it's let me see. Monica said she hated her. she said who invited my cousin? Joseph says, since I have been tuning in to 2 Men and Hats, the conversation here helps me open the same conversation with my wife. Some of the comments help me open that conversation door. So 2 Men and Hats help with those tough conversations. Man, thank you, brother. That's the whole goal of it. Monica said, oh Lord, she said, go take a nap, cousin. Our son got this thing you need to know about. I'm gonna get him to tell you where to order it.
What?
No, bro, you don't want that.
What is he talking
about? Go a little further. Cheating is engaging in a behavior your spouse wouldn't agree on.
Who's to determine what the spouse agree on, though? You can't put a blanket relationship on everybody's relationship, if that makes sense. You can't say that what y'all do works for what they do. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So if he tells his wife, when I'm out here, sometimes it's just like a game to me. I might say something to somebody, but you're sharing all those things with the person that you're with. So if somebody ever was to approach him like, oh, is that your husband? He came over and told me this. And he was like, yeah, he told me he told you that. So right. I'm aware of that.
Wow.
Shut him down. So.
Wow.
Can I ask a question? I'm just gonna throw this out here, cuz might get us in trouble. Hey, what's a concubine? What is a
Man,
country
you got me. I'm already over here in the Bible thing over here. Now you get. Oh my God.
We're
All
gonna leave
right.
that alone. We're gonna leave that alone.
No, let's go with what the uh, dictionary says. Man, it's straight. It goes straight to talking about poly.
Poly.
A woman who lives with a man but has lower status than his wife or wives.
Interesting. Interesting. You know,
A
one question I
woman.
always wondered, like, when did that stop? When was that not acceptable?
It's still acceptable because if you look at this definition, a woman with whom a man cohabits without being married. Hell, that happens every day,
Yeah. Interesting.
right?
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
So look, we gotta look. Let me clock this tea right quick because we missed clocking her tea yesterday, and then I'm gonna make this. Well, I've been having an announcement scroll across the bottom of the page, y'all. I hope y'all been reading it, but it says alert started June 2nd, 2025. We will only broadcast on our 2 Men It Has fan page and our YouTube channel. So you can scan right here on the page, right below Marcus' picture. You can scan our fan page. You can scan that QR code and go and be a part of our fan page. If you not already part of that fan page, because we're not broadcast to these personal Facebook pages because we want all of our views in one location where you guys can interact with each other too with the comments in one location. And so we're going with our YouTube 2 Men It Has, man. Thank you, Marcus, representing. Look, he got the shirt on, the hat. He represented today all the way in Detroit. He represented.
Thank you for shipping it to me too.
Yeah. But that's what happens, man. When you guys make a donation to the cause, man, we send you. We try to get you a little package out to you. But starting June the 2nd, so y'all make sure you guys join the fan page before for then, so you can actually be get the broadcast, or go to our YouTube channel and just subscribe, and you can just watch it on YouTube if you don't want to watch it on Facebook. So we're gonna only broadcast to those two channels, the YouTube channel and our Facebook fan page, the 2 Men It Had Facebook fan page. So with that being said, Marcus says, Marcus, don't allow your guests to ask questions. That man got a lot on his mind.
Hey, leave me alone, cuz. Leave me alone.
I was trying to find it somewhere, but it talks about wasting your seed. He said it's better to put it in the belly of a whore than to waste it. And so
it's in there. I read that. Yep.
Yeah, it's in there. I just couldn't find it right then. But so you can't, like, a lot of stuff we doing, man, is against. Like when we around here ejaculating and this in a napkin, in a towel, and all that stuff in the shower, we wasting that seed. Like you said, the Bible says we supposed to be fruitful and multiply. That seed's supposed to go into something.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It probably is your mate or your spouse, but
Right. Yeah.
And not the concubine, harlot, whore, whatever y'all want to call them. It's not that. But it does happen. It happens more than we probably think.
Concubine is different from a harlot.
Yeah, but I'm saying a concubine is it's like a poly relationship.
Yeah.
Just without you putting a title on it and calling her sister wife or whatever. They just cohabitating with the man that has other women.
Yeah, that's another conversation. I really want to dig into that, because
let's jump on the next week.
When did the change happen? Because I think about David, how David saw, and I'm not speaking, that like we should be doing, but I remember David saw this woman, and he saw her. David saw her, and he ended up making her one of his wives. She was like second or third. And I ain't gonna go to Bathsheba. The situation with Bathsheba.
Yeah. So Yeah, he was wrong. He sent Uriah to the front of the line, but he tried to get the man to sleep with his wife, but he
Yeah, that
wouldn't.
was wrong.
He was too loyal to David to go. He didn't want to leave the king, protect the king. So anyway,
Yeah,
when you think about that though, when we talk, you saying when did it change? I think when we talk about the Old Testament and the New Testament, a lot of if you read in the it's mostly the Old Testament where they had multiple concubines or multiple wives, or Solomon had
everything.
all these gazillion wives and all
Right,
this stuff.
right.
But see, when you went to the New Testament, Jesus said he came to not destroy the law, but to fulfill the law. And so when he came, he's a new covenant, supposedly. So I think things kind of changed a little bit. And that's what a lot of people, they say, well, that was the Old Testament, New Testament supposed to be better. Like we ain't have all that in the New Testament. So I think that's where, I'm gonna say that's where the difference comes in at. And I could be wrong, but
I mean, I've been studying the Bible for some years, a long time. I always looked at that, and I felt like God always dealt with man, with the culture. Like it was even a period where the children of Israel, and I'm gonna say this real quick, the children of Israel saw that it was other kings in the land. They said, "We want a king." So he dealt with them. He didn't want them. He wanted to be God. He wanted you to follow me and y'all be a kingdom of priests. But they wanted a king. So he said, "Okay, I'm gonna work with you with your culture."
right.
And not David, prior to David, it was Saul.
Mhm.
That's when Saul came. You know what I mean? And then David behind him. So the cultural change, the
Yeah.
shift. When
Yeah.
did that happen? So that's another discussion for
Yeah,
later.
we're gonna talk about that next week. We're gonna bring you back on next week and talk about
Okay.
that. We're gonna clock that T right quick, get Queen her 5 minutes. All right.
Okay.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Y'all know what time it is. Them phones down, fingers up. It's time to clock that tea with your girl, Queen Watkins. I hope y'all having an amazing morning. But y'all know what time it is. It's time to clock that tea. Have y'all seen the story of the 17-year-old boy that unalived his mom at her front door? Yeah, let's talk about it. So there's a 17-year-old guy that his mom was at home. He ended up calling his mom, letting his mom know, hey, mom, somebody's outside on the porch drinking. He didn't know who it was. And he was like, Mom, they're not supposed to be out there. Just for his mom to open the door. And he shot her 4 times. One of them times was in the head. What possessed your mind to do that? I have no idea. Now, from the story, it's not saying mom did or said anything to him out the way. Even if she did, ain't no way you feel like it's okay to pick up a gun and unalive your mom to put the icing on the cake. The dad, as well as the son, was there right when it happened. So they were able to get away. They heard 4 gunshots. Then they were able to get away, call the police. By the time they called the police, before they came, they heard 5 more shots, right? They're not saying where those shots went, but they did hear 5 more shots. So the 17-year-old ended up getting away, right? But then later on, turning himself in. He goes to court and his lawyer tries to say, oh, he's in the GED classes or whatever you call it. And he also has a part-time job. Baby, what they got to do with him hollering off, shooting his mom? Not once, not twice. Minimum 4 times. We don't know if those other bullets went inside or not, but minimum 4 times. So they're trying to check out his mental, which is a good thing to do as well, because why is you sitting here? We got to evaluate. We got to do something, because ain't no way you just haul off and do your mom like that. That's insane to me. And for you to do it in front of your father and your brother. But there's always a question mark there to, you didn't do anything to them, but you shot your mom. Not saying he should have did anything to everybody. Not saying that at all. Shouldn't have did nothing to nobody. But what was what happened? Why? Rest in peace to his mom. And hopefully this 17-year-old gets the help he needs, because that's wild. And for the news to say, oh, his family didn't have nothing to say in the court. Baby, what are they going to say? This is a speechless situation. There's basically 2 lives that were lost at one time, right? And people really not understanding and able to wrap their minds around exactly what. All right, y'all, that's all the tea that I have today. Make sure y'all tune in to 2 Men in Hats, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. sharp. And don't forget to stay tuned for your girl, Queen Watkins. Clock that tea. Y'all have a blessed day. Bye.
As the bear would say, ba, 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 ba. Yeah, man. The bear would be like, ba, 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 with his little sound effects and stuff. So I like we don't even have the time to talk about that, but that's crazy. And the fact, like what did his mom do to him? What possessed him to? And then if the father and brother showed up at the door too while he was doing it, so why did he only just kill the mom?
Yeah.
So it's like weird. Like, and then why wouldn't they try to, unless they came to the door after he had already did it? Like, but why wouldn't they try to stop him?
Yeah, something else going on with that story that we don't know.
Yeah, because it's weird too. Like, why would you call your mom and not your dad if your dad is at the house? If somebody is trying to break in the house, dad going to the door.
Right.
Not mom.
Right.
So it's just, that whole story is just kind of weird. So, but thank you, Queen, for clocking that tea. We appreciate you as always, man. Look, Mark, thank you, brother. I appreciate you coming on today and being with us and sharing with us today, man. I enjoyed it. I always enjoy it, man. And next week, man, we're gonna have to chop it up again. We're gonna bring you on one day to talk about this concubine situation. And we're gonna have a whole show dedicated to concubines and sex. And matter of fact, we're gonna talk about we're gonna pull and talk about the poly relationships in that as well.
Okay.
Because I think a lot of that, I think that it's all like one big mesh.
Yep.
She said, Monica said, you better be content with your one husband or your one wife, cause I ain't sharing shit, but that's in my house. Oh, she said content. I don't know. I'm tripping. I'm thinking about content. You better be content with your one husband, your one wife, cause I ain't sharing shit.
Knows how you really feel, cuz.
Yeah, tell us how you really feel. All right, man. Look, that's all we have for today, man. We appreciate you guys tuning in to 2 Men in Hats podcast, man. With your host with the most, Tony May, Lavelle Salter, and our co-host today, Mr. Marcus Young, realtor extraordinaire. We appreciate you, brother, coming on, man. Close us out with a prayer, brother.
Lord, we just come to you right now. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for all the words that were said today, God. We just come to you in the name of Jesus, Lord, just asking that although we were sharing in humor and touching on things, Lord, but we ask that those relationships that's really going through what they're going through, that you mend them, that the communication channels open up, God, and that you touch every situation and that you mend every heart, God, that you uncover everything that needs to be uncovered and for them to have real love flowing in their relationships, God, because we know that God is love and all of it comes from you, Lord. And we give you all of the glory and all of the praise, God, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen, man. We'll see y'all Monday morning, same bat time, same bat place, 2 Men in Hats. Give attention with purpose and passion. Let's talk about it.
It's the 2 Men in Hats podcast with your hosts with the most, Tony and Lavelle, every morning from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. We also have Queen Watkins with Clock That He Tune in with us and have a great time. Let's talk about it right here. Too Many Hats Podcast.